Taehyung couldn't believe it. Jungkook stuns in Calvin Klein. Fans go wild in New York. New York City that night turned into the center of the world spotlight. Streets that were usually crowded with the rush of locals and tourists from all over suddenly roared with just one name: Jungkook. The golden magne of BTS once again shook the worlds of fashion and entertainment. It wasn't only because of his collaboration with the giant brand Calvin Klein, but because of the aura he radiated, so powerful, so undeniable, that everyone present, even those watching only through their screens, found themselves unable to look away. It was as if the city had been rebuilt only to serve as a stage for Jungkook. And among the millions of eyes that looked at him with awe, there was one pair filled with shock and pride: Kim Taehyung, his bandmate and closest friend. Taehyung's expression of disbelief has now become part of the legendary story of that night, adding an extra layer of drama to an already monumental event. From early in the day, thousands of ARMY from across the globe had crowded around the Calvin Klein event venue in New York. Fans came from Korea, Japan, Latin America, and even Europe. They had traveled hours, some even days, just to witness Jungkook with their own eyes. Some carried posters with his face printed in bold letters. Some waved the glowing purple light sticks that had become a symbol of the unbreakable bond between ARMY and BTS, while others simply stood with tears in their eyes, hardly believing that their dream of meeting Jungkook had finally come true. The icy New York air didn't dampen their spirits. In fact, it seemed to fuel them, pushing their voices louder, their energy higher. The chants of Jungkook, Jungkook, Jungkook echoed between skyscrapers, marking the sheer scale of influence a young man from Busan now carried across the world. When the venue doors finally opened and the event began, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Spotlights burst to life. The heavy beats of modern music reverberated across the space, and every gaze locked onto the main stage. Then, from behind a towering black screen, Jungkook appeared. His entrance was nothing short of cinematic. He walked out with confident strides, clad in a Calvin Klein ensemble that was simple yet radiated an otherworldly aura. A denim jacket paired with slim black trousers and sleek leather boots gave him the look of both a rock star and a professional model rolled into one. The crowd exploded. Screams mixed with sobs, laughter, and gasps. That night, Jungkook wasn't just a K-pop idol. He was the universe's center of gravity. Professional cameras from countless global media outlets clicked incessantly, capturing every detail: the sharp lines of his face, the intensity of his gaze, the subtle curve of his lips into a faint smile that felt personal, as if whispered to those lucky enough to be there. Each flash of light seemed to intensify his aura. Jungkook moved with ease, his posture both trained and effortless, showing complete mastery over the stage. He wasn't simply modeling clothes. He was selling an emotion, an illusion, a reality that Calvin Klein lived and breathed through him. The brand was no longer just about fabric and design. Through Jungkook, it was about a story, a passion, and a fearless confidence that resonated with millions. Amidst the roaring cheers, one camera captured a moment now immortalized by fans. Taehyung, sitting among the invited guests, was frozen in disbelief. His eyes widened, his lips parted slightly, as though he couldn't fully process what he was seeing. He knew Jungkook more intimately than anyone. He had watched him grow from a shy trainee into a superstar. Yet even so, this moment overwhelmed him. Fans who saw Taehyung's reaction immediately spread it across social media. Within minutes, hashtags like #TaehyungReaction and #JungkookCalvinKlein were trending worldwide. ARMY flooded the internet with comments declaring that Taehyung's stunned expression mirrored exactly what they all felt, a mixture of shock, admiration, and pride that could barely be contained. The night intensified when Jungkook pushed the energy further. With a slow, deliberate motion, he opened his denim jacket slightly, revealing the thin black shirt underneath. The crowd's screams reached an earth-shaking crescendo, cameras flashing like fireworks. The venue vibrated with uncontrollable energy. Jungkook knew exactly how to command the stage. He knew when to stare down the camera with intensity, when to offer a fleeting smirk, and when to let the fans' voices rise above everything else. Every second was orchestrated like a masterpiece, calculated yet full of unexpected sparks that electrified the atmosphere. Outside the venue, thousands of fans who couldn't secure entry refused to leave. They stood pressed against barricades, listening to the roar from inside, praying for even a fleeting glimpse of Jungkook as he left. They sang BTS songs together, their voices blending into a chorus that melted into the cool night air. The scene was breathtaking. New York transformed into a sea of purple, united under the love for one man. Even curious locals, unaware of the phenomenon, stopped in their tracks, their eyes wide. "Who is he?" a New Yorker asked aloud. An army nearby, voice thick with pride, answered without hesitation. "He's Jungkook from BTS." That night, New York wasn't just a city. It became home to ARMY worldwide. On social media, short clips of Taehyung's expression as he watched Jungkook quickly went viral. Fans made memes, wrote heartfelt captions, and replayed the clip endlessly. "If even Taehyung can't believe it, then what about us?" one fan tweeted. "Their friendship is beyond words," wrote another. To ARMY, that single reaction symbolized everything. The authenticity of their bond, the pride of one friend watching another conquer the world, and the raw humanity that still shone through the glittering layers of fame. Taehyung, often hailed as a global fashion icon in his own right, now stood as a witness to Jungkook's rise in the fashion spotlight. It wasn't just a performance, it was a celebration of their journey together. International media wasted no time praising the moment. Vogue published a lengthy article on how Jungkook brought a fresh wave of energy to the fashion scene. Elle crowned him the face of modern Calvin Klein, while Harper's Bazaar described him as a global icon redefining the boundary between music and fashion. These headlines only added more sparkle to an already dazzling night. Jungkook was no longer just a golden-voiced singer. He had become the face of an era, the ambassador of a new cultural wave. Yet what made the night even more unforgettable was the quiet interaction between Jungkook and Taehyung after the event. In a fan-recorded video, Taehyung approached Jungkook, patted his shoulder warmly, and smiled. The roaring fans drowned out their voices, but many speculated that Taehyung said something along the lines of, "I can't believe this is you," or "You were incredible." Whatever he said, the look of pride in his eyes was enough to make ARMY's hearts melt. It was a small moment, almost mundane, but it carried enormous meaning. It was proof that beneath the glamour, the flashing lights, and the endless headlines, there was still a simple friendship, sincere, unwavering, and profoundly human. Looking at Jungkook's journey, the story felt like a modern fairy tale. From a teenager training tirelessly, enduring countless pressures, to now standing confidently on an international fashion stage. None of this was coincidence. It was the result of relentless effort, dedication, and an unyielding will to keep moving forward. That night in New York was not just an event. It was the culmination of years of perseverance and the start of an even bigger chapter. Jungkook showed the world that impossible dreams could become reality if fought for with all one's heart. For Taehyung, who had long been known for his artistic charisma and unmatched fashion sense, watching his closest friend shine in this realm must have been a complex experience. There was pride, astonishment, and a reaffirmation of what BTS stood for. Fans agreed. Seeing Taehyung and Jungkook together in that moment reminded them that BTS was more than a group. They were a family. They lifted each other up, celebrated one another, and shared their victories. No matter how big the stage became, that bond remained at the heart of everything. As the night went on, the internet exploded with Jungkook content. Photos flooded timelines, performance clips were replayed millions of times, and words of admiration filled every platform. Hashtags about Jungkook and Taehyung dominated global trending lists for hours. Even international celebrities chimed in, praising Jungkook's performance and the way he commanded the fashion spotlight with ease. All signs pointed to one conclusion: Jungkook had stepped into a new league. He was no longer just a Korean idol. He was a world icon.